Guys, today is day 1,599 of getting sued by Impossible Foods. Today we're talking about the Texas Scorecard article and we're breaking it down. All right, so I posted this the other day, but the Texas Scorecard did a great breakdown on what's been actually happening behind the scenes in the lawsuit. So it kicks off with an intro. I think you guys are mostly familiar with this. It gives the backstory of the logo, the blog, and how he came up with everything starting back in 2010. Then the article gets into Impossible Foods' origins, talks about how in 2013 they were called Moroxy Inc. and they were looking for inspiration for a new branding name to come up with. Apparently, one of their general counsel at the time actually was looking for a trademark search and ran across us in 2013, like 3 years before they ever launched their burger. It gets into the origins of the conflict. Back in 2020, they started doing a bunch of things that we were previously doing, and we wrote them a note asking them if we could talk about it and try to figure out a way to make this thing work. They never responded, and so we had to file an opposition. We gave them loads of time to respond to the opposition, courtesy extensions, etc. And then the day before the deadline for their opposition was due, they filed this lawsuit. It gets into the part about the lawsuit being thrown out for jurisdiction and then later reinstated. And then when we were finally able to enter our counterclaims in the case, some 3 years later, they decide 2 weeks later to rebrand their entire branding. It also jumps into the part where they launched a whole bunch of new claims the night before mediation and then sued me personally. It also talks about how they've done this to other companies where they sued Motif Foods until they just ended up acquiring their IP. Although they did miss a recent article about them going after a Spanish bakery's trademark, even though Impossible Foods doesn't even exist in Europe yet. They've got a quote from me in here. They did leave off the end of my quote, which is where I said, I think that if you believe in something, it's important to fight for it. And I'm looking very much forward to having a full trial out of this case. Overall, I thought it was a pretty fair article. It gets a little tedious sometimes because it's been 4 years and a whole bunch of different motions and a lot of different things. So put your lawyer hat on if you want to dig in. But I appreciate that they took the time to look into the case and share what is going on behind the scenes. I think more and more of this is going to be happening as we get closer to the hearings and the trials are coming up. There's a whole bunch of things that are coming out in the case that have not been public up till now. So I'm excited for people to finally have all the facts come out. Again, guys, you can read this all in the Texas Scorecard. I'll drop the links in my bio below. Guys, it's day 1,599 of getting sued by Impossible Foods. We are going to keep going. I'll see you tomorrow.